Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm, of course, your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the new tutorial being added in Update 7.9. There's only one comment I can say to Wargaming, and it's been enough time, hasn't it? Finally, they have picked up their act at least a little bit and are making a tutorial for the game that actually looks pretty nice. Now, I don't know anything about the tutorial, and I will literally make an entire email just so I can see it, because I do want to see how the tutorial actually is. But there are going to be 3 new vehicles in the game specifically made for the tutorial. We've got the T-3485 TU, kind of looks like a T-3485 Victory, the Easy 8 TU, and as well we have our hands on the Tiger 1 TU. Now the Tiger is by far the coolest looking in my opinion, because just look at the gun on this thing, 2700 DPM, like what the heck? But of course, it only has AP, which means that it is a tier 1 vehicle. Now I do think, in my defense, that Wargaming should have added AP, APCR, and HE for a vehicle like this so that people can understand the mechanics of the other shells. Hopefully this isn't just something that Blitzinger is showing, and that Wargaming will actually show how HE is different from AP, not just, oh, a better shell because it has more average HE damage than AP, which obviously I hope you guys know isn't true, because HE has to pen to deal damage where AP also has to pen to deal damage, but obviously HE is way worse pen than any AP shell as it is. But on to something that I did want to talk about while Wargaming is adding a tutorial, which is great. Obviously, the fact that they're adding a tutorial is fantastic for the game because it means that more people are able to learn how to get better. There is an issue with this, and this is something that I bet a lot of people didn't really think about. This tutorial, to what I'm aware currently, obviously things could change, and I might be wrong on this, but to what I'm aware right now, this tutorial is only going to be available, or at least should I say forced upon people that download the game after Update 7.9. Now, first of all, that's good in a way, because that means newer players joining the game, first of all, are going to be deterred from playing the game. People playing World of Tanks PC, yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Completing the tutorial and figuring out what the heck you're doing is almost impossible. And that's why I personally don't like World of Tanks PC all that much, is because it took me a long time to understand all the mechanics, and I still don't even understand them all. World of Tanks Blitz is very simple in mechanics. It's got, it's still a complex game, especially for a mobile game, but it's not nearly as complex as World of Tanks PC, and I think it's pretty dang easy for any player to understand if it's explained correctly. But this is one of the issues, first of all, is I'm not sure how the tutorial is actually going to be. Knowing Wargaming, the tutorial is not going to explain everything that it should, like shell normalization, 3 calibers rule, side scraping. I want to see these things in thorough detail, not just like a simple little, snippet and says, oh, this is how you do it, and then never explains how anomalies and rear-turreted tanks are different. I want a massive tutorial, and sure, the player doesn't have to do it every single second, but maybe when they research a vehicle that's rear-turreted, let's say a player decides to grind the 2 and 5B. When you get the 2 and 5B, it should teach you how to play a rear-turreted vehicle. There should be vehicles classed as hull-down heavies, rear-turreted tanks, and other stuff like that, and when you research a vehicle of that specific class listed, it will play a video, not maybe specifically encountering that vehicle. Wargaming makes one video, let's say on the Mill 1, that covers all the hull-down vehicle playstyles, and then it says, if you have a hull-down tank, play it like this when you get a vehicle that's categorized in that area. That's something that should be a thing, in my opinion, and that would be a great idea to get people to understand the mechanics of certain vehicles. But Wargaming isn't ever open to the idea of maybe YouTubers making videos like this. It's one thing that I will always disagree with them on, is working with the community, and they don't do that. So that's something they need to work on. I will keep saying this every freaking video if I have to. Wargaming, work with the community. It's simple, it's easy to do, and everybody would be willing to work with you, but for some reason they don't. So yeah, that's a different story. But that's not the issue I have with the tutorial. The biggest issue is the fact, as I said before, this is most likely only going to be mandatory for newer players in the game. Meaning that the people you're playing with currently that suck at the game, well, guess what? They're still going to suck. That is an issue. The game isn't going to get any better if Wargaming adds a better tutorial. And the reason for that being is because the same bad people are still going to be playing the exact same way, judging that they're probably not going to be forced to play the tutorial. And judging that these players probably don't give 2 craps about the game, yeah, they're not going to care to watch the tutorial or pay attention even if they do. So this is one thing I wanted to keep in everybody's mind and keep an open mind on, is that these players, and most of these players, are sitting at 40, even 50,000 games. That sucks sometimes. I'm not joking on this. More of these 6 or 5 year veteran, whatever that badge is, I think it's the V for 5 years, they're are more 5-year veterans that I see that are awful at the game than actual newer players. And the reason for that being is because somebody that's played the game for 5 years thinks that they just know everything. Not obviously everybody is in this aspect, because I've played the game for 5 years on my old account where I've got the badge. And obviously that's not true to every scenario. However, there are a lot of people that like to boast that 5-year badge, have 50,000 games, and suck at the game. And that's something that shouldn't happen. And they won't watch the tutorial because they've got their 5-year badge, or, they think they know what's what and who's who. That's an issue that Wargaming needs to fix, because I think they need to make it mandatory. I don't care if I have to play the tutorial. Oh no, big whoop, I have to play a 10-20 minute tutorial to play Blitz. That should be a mandatory thing for every single player in the game. And if people were to complain that it's mandatory, well, they can suck it, because it should be mandatory. Every player that doesn't understand basic mechanics should. And 90% of the players that are already playing the game with 10, 20,000 games, 40% win rate, these players should understand basic mechanics. I can't tell you how many videos I'll post on shell normalization. And by the way, just a little thing I wanted to say about the shell normalization video. If you don't know, when I made my side scraping video, which I spent a lot of effort on, Wargaming shared it on their Facebook. I wanted them to put it on their official YouTube as well. I wanted to make a whole series with them. I was willing, so eager to make videos and help them. But they posted on the Facebook, which was enough for me, because I wanted to continue to make them, and said, well, we could eventually, have you do YouTube stuff. But what ended up happening is that I made a video on shell normalization and mechanics like that, and Wargaming completely blew me off after I sent them the video, didn't say a word about it, ignored the video I sent them. I wanted that shell normalization video to be shared from Wargaming so that people would understand mechanics of the game. But even Wargaming themselves don't care enough to share a video I've made to help the community. It makes no sense. It makes literally no sense. It takes zero effort to share a video. I could go on YouTube right now and click copy link and post it anywhere I want, shouting out any person. It takes literally 2 seconds. I just don't understand why they don't, and they didn't even respond. It's not like we didn't really like this video all that much. He just didn't even respond to me. I was like, really? You're not just gonna blow me off like that? Okay. That's something I don't agree with. I think that's stupid. It's a bad way of marketing, and I think that it also ruins ties with me, because I've stopped making tutorial videos. My whole goal was to make tutorial videos and work with Wargaming, but because they blew me off, tutorial videos don't get views. As Pantoof said in one of his videos talking about clickbait and stuff like that, I found it amazing that people were surprised that YouTubers use somewhat clickbait thumbnails and titles. Obviously, the content I post, as I always say, will always be true. If I post a video on the FE2 and 5, be sure I might say this is the worst tank in the game, or, not my cup of tea. However, I will always give an honest and true opinion in the video. The content, in my opinion, is always important, just as important as getting views. While getting views is a necessary thing for me to make a paycheck, and as well, obviously, keep in the revenue and the people coming to the channel, keep more people watching, I always prioritize my videos content. Everything I say in my videos usually comes directly out of heart. Like the Kanonen video, I said everything I thought about the tank. That is something I will always do, which is different from probably other YouTubers. But it disappoints me that Wargaming won't share a video like that, or even work with YouTubers in the first place. And I've given up trying to message them and stuff like that. I'll badmouth like the ways their company runs on YouTube because you guys support me, but Wargaming doesn't support me. They don't really care at all. I remember one time that somebody got hit by a missile, and one of the Wargaming employees said, deal with it. It's annoying. That's all I can say. Wargaming gets me frustrated sometimes because they have the basis of a fantastic game, and they could make it so much better, but they don't, which makes no sense. And if it's the marketing team that's doing this and they run the whole gig, well, they suck at marketing. Let me put it like that. But hopefully all of you enjoyed today's video. Obviously, if you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. This isn't really a rant. It's more just what Wargaming should do against tutorial videos, and as well, they need to enforce this new tutorial on everybody. I don't care if I have to play it. I'll make a video on it for all I care. But that's one thing that should be done, is everybody should have to take part in the tutorial. It's like 10 minutes of your life, and if people are complaining about it, well, boo-hoo for them. I really wouldn't care if they complained that they were forced to play a tutorial that made their gaming experience just a little bit better. Hopefully all of you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below.